Okay, so speaking of bats, we got Eddie Perez. Eddie Perez standing over there. He's going to be up here in a second. Eddie is the transition. He works on transitioning soldiers in the Career Skills Program, CSP, and he's the transition service manager at Fort Benning, just right down the street. And he's going to talk to you about so many different things. So please make sure you ask good questions of Eddie too, because I've been in the room with him before. One of the smartest guys, at least he thinks so. He's one of the smartest guys in the room. And I'll tell you who he is. I think he actually is too. Eddie, it's all yours. There you go, buddy.
Yes, okay, great. So, I'm Eddie Perez, so what, who cares? Ultimately, our job is to help soldiers transition successfully into civilian careers, them and their families. What's interesting, do I have to stand back here?
You can stand back there, I'll take that one for you.
I'm a New Yorican. Okay? I have American teeth and a Puerto Rican tongue, and I like to move my hands around. Anyway, so that's the joke. Anyway, so how many people believe that the Army or the Department of Defense is a business? Right? So what's interesting is that we're the largest. I have to slide. Well, I have 250 slides. That's not it. We'll stay there for a second. So 250 slides, and you get through this really fast. So the Department of Defense is the largest employer in the world that trains 100% of their employees to go work for someone else at our dime as taxpayers. Do you agree with that? Last year, during COVID, even though during COVID that we were closed, we were able to place over 800 soldiers into new careers post-military service. Just recently, we posted maybe, I think that post was 427 soldiers just out of the Career Skills Program, saving the federal government in Georgia. I could only speak about Georgia, about $3 million in unemployment compensation. Are you aware what unemployment compensation is? It's the insurance that we pay as taxpayers to the Department of Labor to pay a soldier or a person who's not working. Unemployment compensation through the Department of Labor. All that to say that it's a commander's program. The TAP program is a commander's program. When I retired, I'm a retired nobody, so what, who cares? The thing is that when I retired, this didn't exist. And I'm sure for a lot of us, this didn't exist. I joined the Army in 1975. Like I said, I'm from the Bronx. My brother decided to become a doctor. I said, I want to go, do this illegal stuff that's legal. You know what that is? No? Okay, I won't mention it. Anyway, soldiers know what that is. But anyway, but when I transitioned, I returned from the desert, and this didn't exist in that sense. It was more of a shake and bake. And I didn't understand what was happening. Of course, my boss, my spouse, was the one that did everything for me. She grabbed me by the arm, took me to the meetings, took me to the workshops, and said, "Are you paying attention?" And I said, "No, because you're here, and you're taking notes." And that's the truth, because I didn't care. I didn't care enough because I didn't know enough to care about any of this stuff. Back then, it was, like I said, a shake and bake. We did what we could to transition and find new careers to take care of our families. But today's another world. And it's interesting because when I retired, I went to work for the Criminal Investigation Division of the IRS. So I was one of those guys that helped put people in prison for not paying their taxes, not for selling drugs or anything like that, but because they didn't pay taxes on the drugs that they sold and the money that they earned. But then shortly after that, I was recruited to come run what was known back then as ACAP, the Army Korean Alumni Program. And what was interesting about it is that when I took that position, I went back into my records to find the form and the suggestion that I made years ago when I retired. And it said, this program is too important enough to just do it once a month. Since then, the program is the daily program. And Charles and some of the folks in here can tell you, the facility that I have now it came through retired Lieutenant General Ferreter. Lieutenant General Ferreter and I are old friends, and when he took over Installation Management Command, he said, "What is it that you need to make this program successful for soldiers?" I said, "I need a facility. I need computers. I need workshops. I need people that understand the value of training someone to go forward and be successful. I need to lower suicide rates." Okay? And a lot of people don't understand what that is. A lot of soldiers, I'm not gonna cry. I have a lot of friends that have passed on their own, by their own hands, and it's difficult when you think about what could I have done to help that soldier and their family understand that there's life after this, that they can do something. But it's difficult to try to do that when you're going uphill. You're pushing, anybody remember the marsh balls? Who remembers the old marsh ball in the Army? Remember the marsh? We used to push and beat each other? I'm too old? Oh, Jesus. Anyway, so it's difficult to try to convince someone above you that something works below us. It's very difficult. However, I stood up what they call the first, now it's called the Career Skills Program. Back then, we didn't have a name for it. And it was with a trucking company. And I thought, well, why is it that soldiers on active duty go to training, they drive trucks, they're radiologists, they do all these things that require in some states some kind of licensing or certification. However, the Department of Defense did not recognize them as such. And the only one I was able to combat first was the trucking industry. I was able to help this gentleman start the trucking school. As a result of that, the Army decided to call it a Career Skills Program. And that's why today, let's see if I do this right. I know I messed it up. So today we have over 200 career skills programs around the United States and overseas. Most of them are free. Some you have to pay, the soldiers pay. And you can be creative with your program. Soldiers can participate in an individual career skills program. Those are not depicted up there. These are just the approved career skills program through the Department of Defense, not Skills Bridge. Skills Bridge is a Department of Defense program that encompasses Air Force, Navy, Marines, and all that. This is the Army. Army does everything different, right? We add that extra. Like Six Sigma, we had to add Lean Six Sigma, right? So anyway, this is the Career Skills Program for the Army. There are over 200 or so programs. There are some stipulations for the programs. I heard someone earlier say something about 6 months. So if you follow me on LinkedIn, I'm the guy that people get mad at me because I like clarity and transparency. And I like to be clear because people come to see me on a daily basis and because of what they think they know, and then they get their heart broken when they come see me and I go, it don't work that way. I like to do things right. The regulation and rules are created for a reason, right? The Career Skills Program, yes, a soldier can start one 6 months prior to separation. However, they only have a max of 120 days. Now, that's what the regulation says. If that soldier's commander decides, I want to let this soldier go 6 months, 7 months, that's between the commander, you, and that soldier. I don't get involved in that. However, for us, our reporting purposes, we're reporting this soldier's in a Career Skills Program. Now, the programs you see here, like I said earlier, have all been approved through the Department of Defense and Installation Management Command. How can you start your own career skills program? Why should you start one? Well, for one, it eliminates or lowers the onboarding cost. So how much does it cost you, you would think, to bring somebody on, to train them, to just turn around and fire them because they didn't meet, they didn't smell right like me, some kind of BO, or just didn't like them, or they smoke, or whatever the case may be. Right? This way, you can have as many as you can support, work with you, you train them for up to 120 days, and then at the end, you have no obligation to hire. No obligation. Now, do we have a lot of hires? Yes. Do some soldiers go for training and then just get that skill set and go somewhere else? Yes. You have to be creative in this process. For a long time, when I first started the first one, I wanted to do this at a larger scale. The Army, of course, like everything else, only allows a soldier to take part in one career skills program. One. So let's just say I sign up for a particular career skills program. My commander allows me to go, and then all of a sudden something happens. I can't go anymore. Guess what? I'm done. So I thought, wouldn't it be nice if we can, you got to get creative. So I was trying to find someone to help me create a career skills program that would have an umbrella coverage with a bunch of employers. It's still one, but now that soldier can pick from a number of different employers. And first I gave it to the city of Columbus. They still don't understand it. And then I called John Sweatman, and I said, this is how we can work this. And he saw the value of it, and now we have that's the first citywide career skills program. Now imagine this. So most states want to bring employers in, but they don't have the workforce or the labor force to support that. They do, however, have different programs, state programs, federal programs, grants, right? This is some of the creativeness that I'm going to talk to you about in a second. However, what they don't do, some of these employers, is let them know about how to connect with veterans. They don't know how to speak that. Because for the most part, they want to bring students in from the high schools and maybe the local colleges to go work for their businesses. But a lot of them don't have the maturity that a lot of the veterans would have that they can hire. However, most of these employers, to be honest, don't want to pay that level that's required, that's commensurate with their skill set. So now, what do we have? How many of you ever heard of the WIOA program? It's terrible. How many of you ever heard of the state on-the-job training program? Okay, good. How many of you ever talked to each other? See, there are a ton of programs out there. You got to get creative. So now, if a state is trying to entice employers to come here, those employers want to know, what's the labor force? This is the labor force. In Fort Rucker alone, you're putting out 400 soldiers a month. Fort Benning, I'm doing maybe 400 to 500 a month. Fort Campbell, you're doing about 800 a month that are getting out. Fort Hood, which don't go there because it's very overwhelming, they're doing maybe 1,000 soldiers a month. Fort Stewart, 800 a month. You see, now these are all people that are getting out. Like I always say, the day you sign up is the day you start working on your transition. If you're not, then you're failing yourself and your family, because you never know. In the Army, they do give pink slips. Ask any of these officers out here, they know. I put out 35 officers at one time. I forgot what they call it, like a QRB or something like that. And they weren't very happy, but they had no choice. So now what do? If you didn't prepare, what they say, we don't plan to fail, we just fail to plan, right? And so remember, there are a ton of programs out there that'll help you as an employer tap into this talent pool. How would you like to have an unlimited stream of talent on a monthly or weekly or bi-monthly or annual basis that you can select from, that you can say, you can interview them and say, this person would be good at this particular job or this particular career, this person needs the extra training, and then you can select whether you want to hire them or not. How many would like that? Nobody? Am I in the wrong meeting? Okay, okay. So anyway, like I said, I don't mean to offend. I am. Anyway, so the Career Skills Program, it's just like everything else in the federal government. If it's too good, they'll find a way to get rid of it or make it so cumbersome that people will just do away with it. So that's why it's so important to preach to employers about the career opportunities that you guys have to tap into that skill base. I mentioned WIOA earlier. So WIOA is a state program. It stands for Workforce Innovations Opportunities Act. Anybody ever heard of that now? Because we're old soldiers, we like acronyms. So the Workforce Opportunity Act will pay you to train someone who's underemployed or displaced, there are different categories, to train them to get that particular position. We have a ton of these. I think Warner Robins, which is, she's now the commissioner for the state approving agency, Trish Ross, when she opened up the Vector, has anybody ever heard of the Vector in Warner Robins, Georgia? So the Vector is free to soldiers, really free to anybody that falls under the WIOA program, but they have over 15 different programs that are free to the soldier, but the school, I believe it's the school, that gets the benefit for that money. If the soldier doesn't, or that person can't pay, they use the WIOA program. The other program is the OJT program that I mentioned earlier. How many of you had hired someone at any given time and then realized you have to pay them a little bit more to keep them, but you really can't afford to do that right now? Well, the state approving agency has a program. That was Ken Davies, right? He left. He cut out. He knew I was going to say that. But anyway, the state approving agency will pay a soldier up to $1,400 for up to 2 years in lieu of going to school to work for you. So those are some of the different programs. WIOA, state approving agency, and then you have other creative programs. You have to work with your local Chamber of Commerce and your state and government programs. There are a ton of grants out there that will help you, like a particular company in Columbus who wanted to train soldiers as employees, but it was going to cost them $3,000. And I asked, why would it cost you this? They said, we don't want to charge soldiers. I said, okay, well, what is it? They said they use a particular type of uniform that they can't, issue to someone else. they would have to get rid of this uniform afterwards. Okay, great. So I turned them on to the WIOA program. Now they're being compensated to help bring in those people. It costs them nothing, not 1 cent. No, it'll cost you this. It'll cost you that trainer or that person that's going to spend time to train that particular person, that employee, for a potential new career. Does that make any sense? Now, if you Google Fort Benning TAP, Fort Benning TAP, you'll see, that's my website, and then you'll see on the bottom there the Career Skills Program where you can find this map, and underneath the map, there'll be a letter of intent. And that letter of intent is very, very simple. It just asks you a few questions. Where's the training? How long is the training? Is there a cost associated to the training? Little simple questions if you want to set up your own. This is if you want to do an approved CSP. If you find someone, a student or a soldier or someone, a veteran preferably, right, who's seeking to do their independent CSP, all you do is get that soldier to contact us, my office. I think Anna's going to pass out our contact information, but if you go to the website, everything's there. They contact us. We help that soldier put together that packet through their commander. The commander has to approve it. Once they approve it, they come back to you, and then they're yours. Now, the rule is 120 days, but we have had soldiers train with employers for longer than that. But that's an agreement that you make with the soldier and the commander, not with us. Because remember, we're the rules guys, right? So we all we see is the rules. All we care about is the 120 days. If you do something outside of that, left or right, I don't get involved in that. I'm not an investigator anymore, okay? Any questions so far? Everybody's looking at me like they fell asleep. I got the deer in headlight look. Yes.
I just want to make sure. So if
Eddie Perez. Oh, I'm sorry.
if it's a recently transitioned soldier, so if they're already out and gone, then they cannot do this program, right?
So, this is not a program for veterans. This is a program for active duty soldiers in transition. However, if you stood up your program, a career skills program, and you have veterans that want to come into the program, you can. But that's strictly between you and that veteran. That's where that cost comes in. So if you establish your grants through WIOA or through the state approving agency, then that could defray the cost of any training costs associated with that training. That make sense?
It does.
Okay. No more questions? That's it? I'm done? I can hit the road? I'm an Alabama fan, brother. No, I'm only kidding. I'm only kidding. I don't follow any of these. I came here once with a couple of friends, and I turned around. There was way too many people here for me. I said, okay, that's too busy. Last time I saw that crowd, I was doing this. Yes?
When you say active duty, do you work with the active guard, active reserve?
Anybody who's on active duty, some of the disconnects we have with the Guard and Reserve is that when they come up on Title 10, they don't process through us. So I don't know they're there. But that's strictly a commander's call. You as a commander can let any of your soldiers go through this program. The rule during GWAT, during the Global War on Terror, the rule was that those transitioning reservists, National Guards, were added 10 more days into their transition so that they can participate in the TAP program itself. And Glenn used to be one of our counselors at one time. He's shaking his head. Yeah, remember that? But it's strictly up to you. If a soldier had a career prior to coming to the reserves, then the commander generally would say, "No, you're going back to the career. You don't need to participate in this program." But if it's younger soldiers, then yes, you can let them come. And just so you know, the career skills program, although it's top heavy, it was only designed for staff sergeants and 18 to 24-year-old soldiers. But right now, I have a ton of colonels, sergeant majors, and everybody in this program because they see the value of it. So if you're looking for some particular person with some sort of skills, like I always say, I have everything from ninja killers to surgeons. We could shoot them and fix them and bring them to you whole. So it doesn't make a difference what you're looking for. If you're looking for bodyguards, I have those. That's easy. Okay, I have people in the room now that are protecting my back. You don't even know they're here. But anyway. I have a bullseye on my back. I used to work for the mob. No, I'm only kidding. But anyway, I did in the Bronx. But anyway, just remember that this is strictly up to you. You get creative. If you're interested in developing your program, contact me. Get creative. I'll tell you when you're out of bounds somewhere. But get creative with your program. The program that John has is a great program for the city. Matter of fact, I'm meeting with Amy on Monday to start a program for Auburn, the city of Auburn. And once you do that, what that does is it allows the city to reach out to all the employers so that now that particular candidate can interview with any one of these employers and only conduct one CSP. I know I let the cat out of the bag with that, I guess, right? Man, who cares? Anyway, but it's to the benefit of the soldier and for you. That allows you to bring several people in and take place in a number of employment opportunities, like John is getting ready to do here pretty soon. That program is still growing. The employers are the hard part. Sometimes it's too good to be true. How many of you have heard of SKI Batteries, as in North Georgia right now? The largest plant in North America building batteries for the F-150 and the Volkswagen. You guys didn't know it existed? If you drive 85, you see that humongous facility on the right there. They put $3 billion into it. They can't find enough people to work. I went up there and briefed them. They still couldn't believe this is true. I've had 5 meetings with them, and they think I'm hiding something. I said, listen, I'm just a federal employee. I'm not hiding anything. I'm ready to retire. The thing is that it's too good to be true. Please do your homework and ask questions. Like I said, this is free and easy for you, and it allows you to connect with soldiers on a global basis. One little catch is you have to have a place for those soldiers to stay. Like, for instance, we have one, Delta Airlines, Delta Tech Ops it's called. They rented a hotel right next door to Delta Airlines. Soldiers stay there. And it's just not soldiers, airmen, Navy, everybody. They stay there while they train, and then they come back to their units, they're out processed, and they go straight back to work for them. And we have on Fort Benning, I don't know about Fort Rucker, but Fort Benning, we have housing, transitional housing for those soldiers in transition that are attending a program anywhere in the 50-mile or 75-mile radius. No more questions of me? I'm done? Are you serious? Okay. All right, thank you so much. God bless you.